Another thing I'd like to talk to you about that I think is really important from a proper mindset of learning songs, and this is probably going to pertain a little bit more to soloing than just rhythm, but use this however you want, is learning the difference between note for note versus what I call plotted points versus freeform. So let's think of this in a soloing context. You're learning how to play Crazy Train, and you want to learn how to play the solo. So you start learning the solo, you're developing the skills to play the solo, all of that kind of stuff, but you're not Randy Rhoads, right? You're going to get as close as you can to note for note relative to your skill set, right? All of those kind of things. You're trying to play it as exact as you can, and maybe it's really darn close. Maybe it is exact. For most people, it's not exact. It's going to be awfully close, right? And then the second way of thinking of this is plotted points. So you're going to learn the most important parts of a solo that you deem really important to you or to the audience or whatever it might be. Something in that solo that is really crucial. Maybe it's, I don't know, Don't Stop Believin'. And you think about that, da, 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 like that kind of thing. And you see that as really valuable. But when the second solo comes up, you don't really care about it. Like you just want that one part right there is what you really want. And freeform is you're going to do whatever the heck you want. You don't really care about the solo. Now, why would we make these choices? Well, one reason we would do this is because of ability. Maybe we can't play it note for note. Another thing is time. Maybe we don't have enough time to learn how to play this thing note for note. And the third thing is interest. Maybe we don't really care whether we play it note for note, right? So I'm going to use the example of Sweet Child of Mine, which I've played a billion times on stage. The first solos, those ba-da-da-da-da-da, those melodic solos, I'll do those pretty much note for note because it doesn't take me a lot of time. They're pretty important to the song, obviously, because they're very singable. But when it gets to the actual solo, there are certain things in the actual solo at the end of the song where he's just going off for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever it is. There are certain little licks in there that he does that I think are cool. I don't want to learn the whole thing note for note. I have no interest in spending however much time it would take to learn that note for note. Not because I'm lazy, but maybe in this case I am because I have no interest in that. I don't care. I already know how to play, and I don't want to learn all that. There's nothing in there that I really find that exciting other than those couple of things. So I plot those points. That's the second part. So I'm going to use those little parts. I'm going to do my own thing, but when it comes to those things, I'm going to plot those in. And if I didn't do any of that, if I just did my own thing the entire time, that's free form to me. That's how I think about those three things. When you do note for note, you have to understand that it's going to take you oftentimes more time to try and develop it exact, but you still have to understand that you are a human being. Right? So there's a wonderful article. I think I've even posted it in the Academy before, but there's an interview with Marty Friedman from Megadeth and Cacophony and all kinds of other amazing things. Marty Friedman is one of my favorite guitar players on the planet. So he's talking about when he was in Megadeth, how he couldn't play Chris Poland's guitar solos note for note because Chris Poland is a very eccentric, odd guitar player. Marty Friedman, in my opinion, is one of the greatest guitar players on the planet. I love Marty Friedman. But he's also willing to admit that, A, he can't do those because he's a human being and he plays the way he plays. His style is not the same thing as Chris Poland's guitar style. Chris Poland was one of the earlier guitar players for Megadeth. So he doesn't play them that way. He's not trying to play them note for note. He's going to be Marty Friedman. Now, he might plot some points or he might do free form or something like that. But for him to, to admit that is huge because there's people out there like, oh, you can't do that. Like, you got to play everything note for note. Not in the real world. And let's even take Randy Rhoads against Randy Rhoads. If you looked at Randy Rhoads' solo in the studio and then you find a recording of Randy playing it live, Randy doesn't even play his own solo live the same way. There's plotted points, but everything about the solo isn't exactly the same. Exactly the same. It's not. So even those guys don't go by that. But we get hung up on that's the way the recording goes. I understand. So have you heard it live in the last 30 years? Not in Randy Rhoads' case, of course, but it changes. So you have to decide how much effort you want to put into note for note. And I'm not saying that that's bad. That's wonderful. Okay? It's going to teach you skills that you didn't have before. There's all kinds of different things that you can learn about exploring something on a deeper level. I think that's wonderful. But you still have to be okay with the fact that even after all of that, you might still not play it exactly the same. Maybe this one you can. Maybe this one you can't. Solos that are more structured and repeatable are easier to do that with. Solos where the original guitar player just kind of jammed it, that's really hard to do because it was organic to begin with. So you might plot some points, or you might just go free form on it. But think about what you're doing and why. Again, why am I telling you this? Because I don't want you to just always get in the weeds. It's like the difference between an ego song and a project song. If you're always trying to do everything on a project song level, it's really hard to make progress in other areas of your playing because you're just always stuck in this technique or this thing, and you're not actually experiencing what it's like to play a song all the way through and listen to a drummer and listen to the breaks and listen to the beginning of the song and how does the song end and all these different kinds of things that you could be doing that you haven't even experienced because you're too busy worrying about this. So again, a healthy, balanced diet is what we're looking for here. Do you do note for note on this song, but this song you might do plotted points, and then here comes this song, and that's right up your alley, so you're just going to jam it. You're going to freeform that. So that's something I want you to think about as a little bit as well.